Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another feature match, this one harkening from Block C. In our round 2 of Deluxe, we have a lot of fighters who are locking in to try and feverishly fight their way over to the finish line, that being making their way over to Stage 2 of Deluxe. And in Block C, we have a most fascinating matchup indeed, as it is a battle between Zorga, Nadir, and Kyoka, a matchup not many people would have surmised to be happening, least of which on a feature match, but perhaps I'll just lead to double the surprises. Over in the top corner, bearing the red gloves, we've got Just Andrew with Zorga Nadir. And on the bottom corner, bearing the blue gloves, we've got Clover, aka Ava, with their tried and true Kyoka. Now, with me, we've got a change in co-commentator, and that being Arxel Zero, who, for those of you who may remember, Arxel was my lovely opponent in our exhibition match, and now he's come back to give some great commentary on how the fights will unfold in round 2 of Deluxe. How are we doing today, Arxel?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to quite the circus show we have on ourselves today. And honestly, Jinky, it is an honor to be here, commentating with you here. Luckily, we're on the same side commentating this and not as opponents, so this will be fun.
Yeah, you flatter me that way. It was a pretty close fight if you ask me, but we're not here to talk about our fight. We're here to talk about this fight. Alrighty, now both fighters will reveal their hands to us, the commentators here, so we can get in on the action right from the beginning. And then, let's go ahead. Are we both ready?
Yup.
And let's do this. Say it with me, y'all. Stand up.
Stand up.
It's Vanguard.
Vanguard.
My slurper.
Serious face.
I love this little guy.
All right, Zorga gets the first move here, so let's see if they have any tricks for us on turn 1. So then, what's your experience with both of these decks here, Arxel, as our fighters start to get to their opening turns of riding and getting their different effects going for setup?
Oh, well, to be honest, my good sir, with the Kyoka player, I actually have this is my first time actually ever seeing a Kyoka deck actually live on stage. So this is going to be a learning experience for both you and me probably, but probably just me. For Zorga, all of us out there are watching today's match. We've all seen Zorga go through his stages, you know, from the beginning of Overdress era all the way to now in Divine Z.
Oh yeah, Zorga is a long-standing strategy, having been introduced as the second strategy in the history of the Stoicheia Nation. This came out all the way in DBT 01 for reference. So all the way to now, Zorga has had a total of 3 retrains, 4 forms, and every time it's always been based on the Alchemagic gimmick. Now, I heard you don't have as much idea on what Kyoka does, so the basic idea for the Kyoka, so I can also explain for the audience, because Kyoka is one of those lyrical decks that has somewhat flown under the radar, but there were periods where it was actually somewhat competitively viable, and that's all because of its very fast and aggressive play pattern. It relies on a normal order that's unique to it called the Magazine Order. These Magazine Orders provide a variety of different effects, but the real gimmick of the Kyoka engine is based on having different grades on your field. So if you can pair grades 1, 2, and 3 on your field, you're able to get all the effects. So ideally you'll want 2 grade 1s, 2 grade 2s, and 2 grade 3s, one of them being your Vanguard, obviously, and then you'll be able to unlock the full potential there. So it's very particular, which is very telling of this era of Lyrical, where they have very stringent requirements to get their full setup off, but while the floor is quite low, the ceiling is astronomical. If you can see the cards that you need, then you'll be able to beat through some of the best decks of this format, and that's kind of how the nation has rolled for a lot of these more recent upgrades to the strategies. All right, it looks like Kyoka here is starting to set up into the grade 1. They've called down one of their searchers, which is a draw card, but what's interesting is that this draw card again needs to have you play the Magazine Order, the unique order, and it also needs you to have 3 or more different grades. So unfortunately it's not live at the moment here, but it's still good for a booster. But it seems like Clover here is waiting for a second. Perhaps they're trying to contemplate any other committing on the field. Okay, so they're going to throw down the grade 1 magazine right away here, looks like. Now, this magazine has 3 different effects I mentioned before. So if you have 2 or more grade 1s, you can draw 2 cards to discard, so a bit more card advantage and filtering. Then if you have 2 more grade 2 units, this is the power bonus. You can choose one of your units gets 10,000 power. There's a inherent restander in this strategy, which is what you would normally give this effect to. Then you get a nice, simple countercharge 1 if you have 2 or more grade 3s, meaning that resources are a lot easier in Kyoka, relatively speaking. Throwing this down early, they've got 2 grade 2s. They were able to get the draw 2 cards and discard 1, so they get a little bit of extra hand advantage there. Maybe that'll help them out later.
Yeah, their hand must have been pretty odd for them to like kind of shotgun it right now. Then in that case.
Oh, okay. They're gonna go for a 16 already.
Ooh, nice.
No god, let's see them triggers.
All right, Zorga player confidently no guards this. Okay, no punish there, but revealing the Kyoka Cross Ride. Now, that Kyoka Cross Ride, very powerful card there. Again, it predicates itself primarily on having your very particular board there, but one of the interesting elements of the Kyoka Cross Ride is that it allows Kyoka to be a potential 6 tax in a turn, because your back row center Kyoka will be able to attack from that back row center. That, in addition to the restanders on either side, is 6 attack stole, but there's not that much searchability in this deck. There's only a little bit of reviving, so it's hard to get that set up. So maybe if they can get that going, they'll be able to beat past whatever Zorga throws down here. An interesting facet of that ability is that you need to be at grade, your opponent to be at grade 3 or greater in order to actually get that. So there is a little bit of a punish for going second here. Now Zorga's going to turn 2, going to be going into the Split the Preordained, as is tradition for Zorga and Nadir. Let's see what they can get off of his Abyss Fishing.
Yeah, and I killed that deck with 6 attacks. So is that the only deck in this tournament capable of something like that?
There's not many decks that could do something to that extent. It may very well be. There's not another deck that comes to mind that is capable of 6 attacks. So Kyoka has one of the higher offensive ceilings if it sees the pieces that it needs to see. But that's an if, right? We don't know for sure that's how it's going to go. Calling down the Philander. Okay. So far looking really nice. Ooh, so between Rylance and Philander, getting 2 roaming prison dragons out there right from the get-go. Okay, looks like we might be getting a really nice fast start from Zorga here, seeing the things they need to see here. Although it did appear as though there was no order added off of Abyss Fishing, so that is a partial whiff on ride line for them. Okay, Split the Preordained going 10.
I'm gonna say no guard. Please crit me.
Oh, he's asking for. I mean, they're asking for the crit.
Kyoka's asking for a crit, but will Split the Preordained be able to apply? Nope. Oh, Abolishment of Fine Sin. That's a very telling blitz order right there. It gives us a little bit of perspective on what version of Zorga is. One of the interesting things about Zorga is it's potentially one of the most versatile decks in this entire tournament, alongside things like Dragon Tree. The reason being is that you have so many different builds for Zorga depending on what orders and blitz orders you run. That one right there tells me there might be a little bit more mid-range options for this version, which means they may not have a lot of counterplay against Kyoka. They just want to play a nice basic game state. Okay, going for 8 on 8. Will Kyoka go to 2 or not? Nope. Ooh, okay, they're going to be guarding with front soul in order to get some extra soul right there. Very nifty guard.
Nice.
I respect it. Respect it.
Yep,
the damage checks are looking a little rough.
Yep, and those soul fronts have definitely been such a great addition to the game in set 6. Because a lot of decks, honestly, in every nation can use soul, sometimes burn souls so fast that with the additional soul fronts, it gives a lot of these decks that burn them so fast a lot more to work with, and a chance to kind of maybe see the spotlight in today's metagame potentially.
Right. What's also interesting about the soul fronts is that we see a lot of decks have been opting for them, so their builds tend to be a little bit more soul heavy by comparison. However, by running soul fronts, they also a little bit less on the shield value, so we might be trying to prioritize resources over hard defense there. All right, Kyoka riding to grade 2. Now, this lets you trigger another skill right there. So with this Kyoka, when this Kyoka is rode upon by a grade 2 Kyoka, you can declare a grade from 1 to 3. I know, very fascinating skill. Then you can get a card with a declared grade or a magazine card regardless from among the top 5. So this could whiff depending on what they call, but one of the nice things about this one is it's kind of a logic game of a ride line, because if there's a grade that you're missing, you'll like to declare it because that's the grade that you need to see. So at bare minimum, declaring that improves your chances of getting your setup there. So let's see what Ava's going to declare grade-wise.
Yep,
Grade
and that
2.
also helps up.
Oh,
Ooh,
they declare
grade
grade
2.
2. Okay. Now let's see if they can get one of the cards they covet.
I do.
They got it.
What do they get?
Perfect.
Oh, that's huge right there. So this right here is the restand I was alluding to before. Not only does it get extra power, but it can counterblast and soul blast to restand itself at the end of the battle that your Kyoka attack. But even though it's really expensive, it's still really good profits, especially because it doesn't need to care about the opponent's grade, which doesn't matter here, but it has popped up a lot before. So now they get a grade 2 off the ride line, very nice and easy. Then from here, there's a debate on what else they'd like to do. Now, of course,
Very true.
One fascinating thing is that the discard was this grade 3. Now, this grade 3 is another magazine. Now, you choose 2 normal units from the drop with different names from different grades from each other, but you call them to rear circle. So think of the new Regardless piece, Shroud and Shadow. They have to be under the grade of your Vanguard, but they are different grades from each other. But then if you have an assortment of the 3 different grades that I was talking about before, you can play up to 2 orders, meaning you can get your regular magazine on top of that. So just a lot of comboing and advantage here, but very piece reliant. Oh, calling down Archie and another copy of the grade 1 right off the bat. So they want to go fast. They do not care about committing, and that may be for the best because Zorga's not well known for its control options.
Yep, and I mean, after all, this is a lyrical deck. Lyrical decks, as we've seen so far, are known for trying to go fast and hard.
100%, especially if they do run the lyrical package. Is a very astute observation. Okay, we're going 18, and let's see where the declare is. Okay.
I'll gladly let this one.
Take.
All right.
Crit.
A critical
And
trigger.
a critical straight to split the preordained.
Let's go.
That is crucial here to swing the tempo back in Kyoka's favor. All right, now let's see what the damage checks provide.
Ooh, a PG.
Oh, damage
Nice.
checking a PG. That in addition to the heal trigger being whiffed, that's not looking good. Oh, second check seems to be a mystery card here.
And a
flipping
roaming
up.
prison dragon. Ayo.
All right.
2
That
beautiful
one-
hits.
Yeah, thankfully that one doesn't hurt too much for Andrew because he managed to already secure the 2 from the drop zone, and Kyoka doesn't have any good control options to try and get rid of those, so those will just maintain in circulation. All right, there's a 28k column. Where's it going?
28 to Vanguard.
Oh, once again
Nice.
on Vanguard, it seems Clover's not letting up whatsoever.
Yep,
Okay,
because
that's
the
another take from Zorga. And no
Nice.
trigger there. Okay, dealing a lot of
Okay.
crucial damage thanks to that early critical trigger right there. Zorga's gonna have to play catch up now. What do you think about the game state thus far, Arxel?
So far, I think I agree with Kyoka's mindset of trying to like rush down really quickly though, because again, with as you alluded to earlier, with Zorga's ability to just kind of throw anything at us, it's probably better to try to finish the game as soon as possible because the longer a game goes on, the faster you actually get put on the back foot against something like a Zorga player.
For sure. Zorga can just keep scaling if he can keep getting more orders. And now Zorga Nadir gets thrown down, and they're going to be able to recycle back in order from the drop zone if they so choose from Split the Preordained.
Yep.
But they're
now
opting not to do it. This is very crucial because this ride line sometimes is actually more trouble than it's worth. By adding a normal order back to the hand, because there's no other normal order in there, it would be hard to get a normal order in the drop zone to bind to set up for the Alchemy magic. So it was wise to not actually go for that. Sometimes that ride line is a bit of a newbie bait if they just use it without thinking about their setup. All right, so Nadir is going to be binding the Ye Wandering Souls in order to call back 2 cards from the drop zone. Now, Home Kokuryu, aka Roaming Prison Dragon, is not generally a good revive target as it provides on its own. All right, going down for Abyss Fishing and Alana instead, and they'll each get 5,000 power because of Zorga Nadir's scaling skill. All right, now the last piece of this puzzle is to see if he can hit the Magose.
Yep. Will we see an Alchemy magic this turn?
Oh, and an Alchemagic is thrown down.
Oh.
Okay, so looks like we're going to be opting. Oh, this is very telling right here. The Clouded Miasma with the Wandering Souls is very telling of a more typical streamlined Zorga list based on a mixture of offense and defense. He wants to have good variety and options. It's just a well balance of Sword and Shield. Having to discard Abolishment is a little bit sad though, because that's a key defensive card for this deck, especially the later the game goes on, but it seems he had no choice but to make some sacrifices there. On the bright side, thanks to the 5,000 power gain from Clouded Miasma and also the extra drive and the double home Kokuryu coming out, we've got a triple drive Vanguard with 5k to front row. Is this Bob Saga or something? Because it's starting to feel like it.
Oh, I mean, if Yuga Michelle can get a crit with each swing, I mean, maybe.
Oh man, then we'd really have some trouble there. Something tells me Fire Lord wouldn't have been the hit on the recent list. All right.
Oh my goodness.
The one thing about one thing going in Clover's favor right now, the Divine Skill cannot be crocked yet because it needs to be attacking a Great Fear Greater unit, so it'll be a 3 attack turn no matter what. And going to Zorga first.
Yep.
Swing a nice 27. 3 drive.
Ooh, triple drive.
To the Vanguard.
All right, they're
Is it
thinking about this.
This can get really dangerous really quickly.
I'm gonna be a bit reckless and no guard this.
All right,
Ooh,
they're no guarding the
guard.
Zorga. Twin Drive's going to come on down.
Ooh.
Let's see how bad this is.
Check. Okay.
Philander.
Nothing so far.
Back on.
Okay. Okay.
Ooh, all right. Clover
And-
getting off light on that Twin Drive. Now let's see the damage check.
And third check.
And third
It
check
was a
is a
triple drive.
critical, though. Classic
Critical.
G fashion with the third check on a triple drive being the thing that cinches something good. All right. So we've got 2 damage checks coming Clover's way. First one, ooh, a magazine. That's not very good. But thankfully, there are recycling. Oh,
Ooh,
but hitting
a
a defensive
defensive.
as well. That might be good
Beautiful. Yep, that might help them shave off some of the damage this turn, especially with 2 roaming prison dragons with 2 crits on their way. So
here. Yeah.
we cannot.
Even worse, one of them's going to have a magic number because Alana's skill, it's being placed purposely behind the Vanguard, not just to supplement its attack, but now by moving to Soul, it can give 2k, which means that they now hit magic numbers against a 10k base. Now, which one are they going to
Indeed.
give it to? Okay, so they're giving it over onto the larger column there, well, rather larger without triggers being considered. So now they're pretty even across the board. These are pretty threatening attacks. Let's see, doing some quick math right there. We've got 25, 30, 35 with a critical on one side there, and then the other one is going for 38. All right. 35, 38,
That's-
20 shield on one, and 25.
Oh my goodness.
20
That's,
shield both ways.
with 5 cards in hand, does Kyoka have enough to? Will Kyoka have enough to guard all that?
We're about to find
Okay,
out.
what-
Potentially, maybe they were part.
Oh, all right.
I'm
They're going to go
worried
ahead
about
and
the
guard and
blind-
intercept.
Ooh,
Now for another. Oh, no, not another. 38.
38.
Hmm.
demanding a 20 shield again. Ooh, the
Oh,
ooh.
Peachy comes down. All right. A costly
Interesting.
guard, but one that needed to happen, it looked like.
And we had
Having to
a great
discard the
use for that.
Kyoka there. All right.
Ooh, definitely gonna set us back.
We will get rid of the Abyss Fishing.
And now the detrimental skill of Zorga Nadir's revive skill. All cards that have been revived or stood by Zorga Nadir have to retire, but thankfully Alana can bypass this effect by going to Soul. Abyss Fishing isn't so lucky. Then again, it's in his job description today. All right, now we're going to move on to the 6th turn here as Kyoka can finally ride to grade 3.
Mm, that's interesting.
They don't got many cards in their hands, so this is going to be a little bit rough for them, but maybe they can still mount a really good comeback here. Thankfully, thanks to the skill of the Kyoka Grade 2, they can resurrect a magazine from the drop zone, which can include the Revival magazine. That can get them a couple of cards stat onto that field there. Oh, and
Ooh,
they're
comes-
doing just that.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm playing here. This doesn't count towards playing a card, so I could just do this.
All right, so they're going to start with the Regardless piece. Regardless piece is not an order play. It is just simply an effect. Think of it like Twin Cast Protect. So by removing this from play, they'll be able to look at the top 5 cards of the deck and call a card from among them or draw if they don't see anything that they like. So let's see what Clover can get for.
That's fine. Let's just remove my play and putting it into the G zone. Now it's
And how about you, Jingy? What do you think of the game state so far as we enter the turn 3 turn for our other player now?
Well, it seemed like Kyoka could potentially mount a comeback, but with 1 PG in the damage zone, 1 PG in the drop, this is a little bit scary for them. The one unfortunate thing is that they missed out on a very easy guard there with that heal trigger they'd only chosen for the critical one. There was, it seems there may have been a bit of a logical flaw with that choice. After all, the point behind that is to stop the multi-attack from Zorga. The thing that I think the player here may not have considered is that that multi-attack is going to have an extra critical regardless. So there's nothing that the restand heal could do that the critical hero couldn't do for them as well. All right, so they're going to be calling down 2 cards from the drop zone there with the magazine. And
nice.
That's going to be another grade 3 Kyoka along with the grade 2 Archie. One of the benefits of being able to discard off of that PG though is that they could get that Kyoka in there, and as I mentioned before, that's an extra multi-attack. Now the only thing that they have left to do is they need to get a grade 2 over on that other front row somehow. If they can manage that, they'll be able to get the full setup necessary. Thankfully, there is one way to help get them there. Kyoka has an axe skill on the Vanguard circle. By soul blasting and energy blasting, they'll be able to declare grade 1 through 3, and then they go to the top 5 and get it. So effectively, they can redo the ride line skill that they had earlier in the game. And I'd imagine with this field setup, they're going to ask for 2.
Okay.
And they found it, and it's a
they found
restander
another
on top
Archie.
of that.
That is optimal. Okay,
that
they've
is
got
huge.
the whole. Yeah, that is absolutely ginormous for this turn right here. With 4 damage already in there, and Zorga sitting at a mere 6 cards, Zorga might very well crumble on this turn alone. Kyoka going hyper fast and clapping back. Okay, and now, thanks to the effects here, Archie, since they played a magazine order this turn, get 5,000 power, and this is paired with the skill of Kyoka, where if they played a magazine, all the front row gets 5,000 power. Now the magazine's going to be able to get all the effects, drawing 2, discarding 1, giving a unit 10,000 power, and then on top of that, getting a free countercharge 1. All right, so they draw 2 and discard a normal unit. Now they'll be able to give 10k, which could go to Restander, and they do. They're going to go over for the right side Restander and countercharge 1. Ooh! All right, Clover managed to see the full setup here. Zorga must be in trouble now.
Yep. Looks like this side was about to put on the show.
okay. All right.
Well, here we go.
I'm gonna go. All right. I'm gonna be a bit. Doesn't make that much sense, but 18k to your Vanguard.
They're swinging with the back row center. Very wise choice, as this is one that won't be easy to empower with extra abilities there. So swinging with the lesser card in case a defensive comes down. Now, how will Zorga respond?
Good. One thing I like about that is that has to be a 10k. It's a bit.
Okay. Nice, dude. Okay.
It's a bit harder to guard, which I like. So
Do a 20. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Zorga's going to throw down 2 5Ks right there, so they are not going to opt for the defensive right away.
20k to Vanguard.
Okay,
the money, another 10k shield.
20. Yeah. We'll do 28.
All right, they're guarding again. They're putting up a very strong front right now.
And that's all
30k to Vanguard.
Ooh, 30k on the Vanguard. Okay.
30's fine. We'll take that one.
Okay, so this is where they choose to take.
Ooh,
okay, they do hit a defensive. That might be able to help here, but they've only got 3 cards left, and there's 3 more attacks incoming.
Yep.
All right, so this is gonna be 18k to Vanguard.
Will we are
18. That is 38 and 28. Okay. I'll let fate decide. No guard, bro.
Oh, they're
See
no
them
guard.
no
They use
guard.
one to pass. Okay,
Yo.
let's see if they. Oh, and it breaks through with
Oh
a
my
critical
God, the
trigger,
critical.
shutting it down. Oh,
Yo.
shoot. Ava crushing right past that one to pass immediately.
And a heal trigger.
And a
No
heal
heal,
trigger.
but the extra power though.
The extra
Oh
power is
my
still
goodness.
very warranted here. Oh,
Yep.
Zorga may have just got smashed down.
And
All right.
and with the critical trigger, it means now Zorga needs to 2 back-to-back heals or a heal or and an OT just to survive this turn.
Let my infinite OTs cook.
Let's see it. And
That's not
that's
an
a no
OT.
trigger. Oh, and
Oh
the
my
GGs
goodness.
go to Kyoka. I wonder how many people would have anticipated that. That was a very, very fast match here. Zorga trying to go for
Yes.
some really baller stuff, but unfortunately falling prey to one of the deck's biggest weaknesses, which is that it's a veritable glass cannon. Perhaps having to
Yes.
discard the Abolishment might have made the difference here, unfortunately.
Indeed. And
Revealing
also
the rest of
fact-
the hand there. They have a PG and I
The
see.
OT.
What's
There it
fascinating
is.
about this is because of Abolishment's skill, if he had a chance to activate this, there may have been a possibility of still stopping this turn cold there, but they opted for the
But-
Persona Ride, and because of that, they fell prey to the super rush, the 6 attack turn Kyoka. Did you expect this outcome, Marksel?
Honestly, I think knowing how Zorga, yes, as you mentioned, can be a very glass cannon deck, but at the same time, as you mentioned with Kyoka, the 6 attack setup is very niche and very hard to pull up, as you mentioned. So what probably the Zorga player was probably thinking, he was probably thinking the same thing, that maybe Kyoka was not going to see all the pieces necessary to pull it off, and that greed kind of ended up becoming his hubris.
Alrighty. Well, with that said, is there anything our fighters want to say about this game state or how the results turned out?
I'll say, I did not expect my thing to go too well because I was kind of gambling on me not having a next turn. So I was like, okay, that's why I discarded the grade 3 Kyoka.
Okay, so when Clover, you used that earlier, you were indeed trying to set up for the maximum attack pattern.
Yep.
So they were thinking ahead.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay. I get this. I'm like, okay, I can use this as intercept, and I can revive it. But what I need to do is kind of gamble on the fact that I discarded Fire Regulus and the fact that I had the Vanguard skill. So there's high likely I could keep keeping it to get the other multi-attack.
Right. What about you, Andrew? With this game state here, did this turn out more or less how you expected?
To all the kids out there, make sure to read what your opponent's cards do before the match.
Yep, reading is half the battle after all.
Oh no! Oh no! Don't tell us that this was due to negligence.
No, remember, kids, when
It
you're given
cannot
time to
be.
study, always study.
Oh, maybe this could be made into a cautionary tale at that. Well, all right. That was it for this feature match here. Kyoka taking home the gold and doing away with all those unpleasant jokes about a matchup like this. You know who you are. Be sure to stay tuned for the next feature match, as we've got a couple more hot topic matchups in this round here of Deluxe, including but not limited to Youthberg versus Artisaria. We'll see you when that one happens. And in the meantime, if you're looking for other Vanguard content, then definitely check out my channel down below. Whether it's discussion videos, top 10s, fight nights, anime reactions, custom card reveals, we do it all here. So if you like what you see, consider leaving a subscribe and notification bell for next time I upload a video. And with that said, take care and God bless y'all.
See y'all in the next one.